What's happening, everybody? We are back. I don't know which issue of season 2 of this show this is. I think it's 7 or 8. I don't know. I'll fix it when I do the titles and everything. How's everybody doing? I'm your boy Ronimus Prime. We have Alan Lynch, and today we have a special guest, Jamal Crump, the writer of Koakungy. Um, Gentlemen, before we get started, I'm looking at my little notes here, professional like. Um, Recently, there was this little bit of like controversy with Rob from Comics Explained. I've followed Rob for well over a decade, right? I think the big hullabaloo is that he wouldn't cover Milestone Comics for Black History Month, and that he follows guys like Critical Drinker and Nerdronic on Twitter. I am aware of Critical Drinker. I can't stand Critical Drinker. I don't know much about Nerdronic. But if he's something like Critical Drinker, I probably ain't gonna like him either. But listen, guys, at the end of the day, you can't make somebody like something. You can't be mad that he doesn't cover Milestone. The reality is, some of the videos I've seen, people are literally saying, well, he covers Marvel, he covers DC in some image. Well, if you followed him and you knew this, why are you upset that he doesn't cover Milestone? Rob has said in several videos he doesn't cover a lot of indies. I think in the 10 or 11 or 12 or 13 years he's been doing it, I think he's covered one true blue indie, just one. So to me, when I saw this, I know you guys probably don't know much about what's going on, but when I saw it, I was just like, okay, why are y'all upset about that? Like, and then there was something about his avatar. Like, why does he got this white man as his avatar? And if it's the one I think it is, it's like it's him. It's probably a very, very lighter skinned version of him, but Rob is half black, half white, clearly. I've posted on my personal page Rob's second response to everything going on, and I agreed with it. He's just like, Milestone doesn't resonate with him on a personal level. He covers stories that he likes. The only thing he's really there to do is to cover the stories that he likes, as he said, and shit on the Inhumans, which he's actually done. But even in his covering of Marvel, DC, and some image, he's covering the books that he likes. That's his channel. That's his prerogative. He's never really talked about race unless it was pertinent to the story. When Rob talked about how he's probably single-handedly responsible for a lot of people liking Blue Marvel, I would agree with that, because as much Marvel as I've read, I didn't know about Blue Marvel until I saw one of Rob's videos. So Rob has been a big influence in my life. Rob is the reason why I bought a psychology book, because he's not only the reason why I bought a psychology book, he's the reason why the few issues of Invincible that I do own, which I own like 4 or 5, that I didn't get rid of them, was because I loved his series on Invincible. I loved how he was able to pull up some of the psychological principles behind some of the stuff that's talked about in Invincible. So to see this, I'm just like, fuck is y'all sitting here arguing about? What are y'all mad about? It's his channel. He's never really talked about race. The one time he kind of did talk about race wasn't on Comics Explained. It was on his channel, Rob Explains, where he was just explaining things happening in the real world. That didn't really pan out to us, so he stopped doing that. So I don't really see all this hate. I mean, I guess he said some mean things about Angel Reese but he said his opinion. And we got to face facts. Everybody's not going to like Angel Reese. It's not a black versus white thing. It's, I got friends that don't like Angel Reese, and they're black. They're like, she come off like an asshole. They don't like her attitude, and that's where it begins and ends. And it's sad that you can't have an honest opinion about somebody, because there are a lot of racist idiots who, your opinion gets lost in that. Moving past that, I agree with Rob. Like you take Eric July. I don't too much care for Eric July. I don't have really nothing against him, really, but I don't really care for his like socio-political ideology. But if I listen to him and he makes a valid point, he makes a valid point, and that's where Rob is coming from in following Critical Drinker and Nerdronic. Like he said, he's not 100% right. They're not 100% wrong. I understand what Rob's saying. He's like, I'm not doing any of this to follow black politics. But you guys wanted to do something. It's all or nothing. And it's like, that's not how it is. There's gray areas. There's very few, there's a lot of things, but at least in this, there's very few things that are either or that are black or very few. So I just looked at this and I'm like, this is stupid. This is stupid. I mean, I've seen, speaking about, milestones, I saw something somebody sent me about Joe Village, and there's a 100K challenge for DC of his Dakota incident. And my thing is like, yeah, 100K is great. That gets Static and those guys a series, but for me, it's like as somebody who's bought those books, it's like, do you show up past issue 6? Do you show up past issue 12? What really helps those characters is not necessarily a 100K challenge. It's showing up 18 issues, because then that shows DC that for a year it had sustainable sales. 18 shows that it's sustainable, that it's worth it. People keep talking about Static this, Static that, but like this friend of mine who brought it up to me, like, Static has a series right now. Static has a series right now with Batman Beyond. And it's like, who's talking about that? And it's not like DC hasn't given Milestone chances. Milestone has had some, legal issues when it comes to ownership and things like that, but they've given them an opportunity. But we're going to move on from that. But like I said, I side with Rob because Rob's just making sense. Can't make somebody like something. And he even gave other examples of things like G.I. Joe, Transformers. I'm like him. They're kind of cool to look at, but they don't super interest me. Me and Alan, as much as we've talked about on this show, we've never talked about Milestone. Are we coons also? That's the question I would ask. Do we hate being black because we haven't talked about Milestone? Not that we don't respect the talents of the legendary Dwayne McDuffie. I always mess this up. Dennis Cowan. Because every time I see his name, I want to say Denise. But please, it's Dennis Cowan. Fucking, huh?
Seeing his name. Yeah, it does. Dennis.
That's just how it reads to me. Yeah. But then when I heard people pronounce it, like, okay, it's Dennis. Got you. I still kind of fuck up with it. Like, I used to not be able to say the word lenticular. Then I just had to slow it down. But and that guy's a fucking legend. You know what I mean? So, you can respect people's craft and not necessarily be interested in the book. If you watch my boy Philip Thompson's I forget what he calls it, but there's some behind the scenes videos he's done about his collections in black. He has on YouTube. Like, he's got pages of Bitter Root. Those pages look awesome, but Bitter Root as a series has not interested me, but those pages look phenomenal. There's other ways of being interested in something without just buying it. Like I told Alan in our last show, like if I had Ebon #1, I wouldn't have it because I wanted to read it. I would have it for its historical context. So I may not be interested in the story. I'm interested because it has historical significance. Same reason why I have Luke Cage, Hero for Hire. That's where my interest really begins and ends. I mean, I like Luke Cage, but I'm not a super fan of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so people got to understand that. Like, and then you want people to talk about things because whatever avenue it is that they like it, they'll do it with enthusiasm. You don't want people to talk about things out of obligation, because once that obligation is over, so is my need of it, and then I'm done with it. It's off to the side, It's just like, it's like medicine. Unless you an addict, like how long you gonna keep taking Dynatap and Robitussin? You know what I mean? When you're done, when you don't have to take it no more, you stop. Plain and simple. Moving on from that, something that's been on my mind is like, and I wanted to, something we're going to talk about with Jamal here, is like the nature of review, right? One of the things I want you guys to know, me and Alan have kind of stepped back from doing reviews. I more so enjoy doing op-ed pieces. I really enjoy doing those. But I want you guys to know, whether it's me, Alan, Imani, Obasi, when we do reviews, we're not just flash in the pan reading you guys' books. We do take time. And then there's been a lot of books that we've read where we've internally discussed 2, maybe 3 days before a review is posted, just to make sure, like, hey, did you guys see this? Did you see that? Am I missing something? Am I interpreting this scene correctly? So there's a certain level of care that we do put into it, whether you agree with our reviews or not. I just want people to know we do read, we do pay attention. We'll go back and reread, sometimes 2, 3, 4 times. So, But with that being said, my little rant is over. Let's get to the man of the hour, Jamal Crump. Tell us about yourself, brother. How you doing? First and foremost, how's your mental health and everything?
It's going. It's other than everything rising, but we're doing all right. I'm still at work. Still can pay the bills and everything, so we're good.
Yeah, that's good. You in Texas, right?
Yeah,
Dallas. Yeah, what part?
The Dallas area.
Oh, Dallas. I got family in Dallas, like South Dallas, like Oak Cliff, or like south of Dallas, like DeSoto, Cedar Hill.
Nah, more north. Upwards, if you ever Greenville, I'm at one of the Presbyterian, one of the hospitals.
Oh, you're at one of the hospitals. Okay, I think I got a friend that lives
north there. Yeah, it's closer to North Dallas because I'm closer to North Park, the mall, than I am to say the Galleria.
North Park, is that the mall with like the Louis store in it and
North Park? Yeah.
Okay,
it be having a lot of the. I'm pretty sure. Well, it's the one without the rink, the ice rink. I think Galleria has that little ice rink at the bottom.
I gotta look it up.
Rink.
Tell us more about your outlook, because my cousin sent me that. I went to some mall there, and it's like I looked. I was like, "Ain't shit in this bitch I can afford." I mean, I can, but I'm not breaking the bank for it.
Yeah, how many floors was it?
At least 2. I know it had a Louis store. It had because right across from the courtyard there was the Balenciaga.
Yeah, it may have been North Park.
I think it was.
Galleria has like 3, maybe 4 floors.
Yeah, no, this didn't have 3 or 4 floors.
Yeah,
maybe at best it might have had 2.5.
Yeah, that's more than likely North Park.
Yeah, it was very. And I got a friend that lives. She lived not too far from there. I'm actually trying to just give the general area without putting her. Richardson. She lived on Richardson.
Yeah, so Richardson's just a little bit north from me, but that's like it's probably like no more than like 10, maybe 15-minute drive.
Yeah. So whatever mall, because the mall I was at was about 10 to 12 minutes away from her. So, but yeah, all right, man. I'll take it away.
Hey, Jamal. So tell me about your creative process. What got you started what made you decide that you want to do a comic book?
So I started after 2020 when I first really dove into making Lapis comics as a whole. I was getting out of animation school, so I knew I wanted to.
That's cool.
The Art Institute in Dallas.
Oh, he went to God.
So
I hate the Art Institute.
Yeah. I mean, it's useless now. I said it's useless now.
Is the one in Dallas still open?
No, they're all closed.
Oh yeah, that's right. All of them are closed. I went to the one in Seattle.
The last one.
Huh?
The Dallas.
I thought Houston's was.
I'm sorry. I mean, it was among the last ones because of how popular the Dallas location was, at least in terms of overall of the Art Institutes, which that's why I went there in the first place. But by the time I graduated, they had already COVID shuttered everything.
Well, that and because
they were already getting taken over too, because we got taken over by like some Miami's place. Miami.
Yeah, that's a dream. So I don't want to, because Alan, you probably don't know, because I went to the Art Institute. So the Art Institute, So I hijacked Alan's question. No, the Art Institute was a for-profit university. I went to the Art Institute of Seattle. I hated that shit. While I was there, they switched from for-profit to non-profit. And I was wondering why my student aid money, like why I didn't qualify for more, which in the States, like if it's a for-profit university, you don't get as much student aid. So they switched and I ended up dropping out. I mean, there was a lot of other things, stress, but yeah, fuck that place. Those degrees were worthless.
Yeah, it's definitely. I got a little bit of knowledge, but the degrees is useless. Also, my artist is from the Art Institute too. I can't remember.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember
How
which
old are you,
one,
man?
but I'm 33.
33.
Okay.
I'm 41. Alan's what, 50, 51?
No.
We got,
You got it.
we got one decade here. You got a 30, a 40, and a 50.
I'm gonna be 50 soon. So, question. So therefore that means you have some kind of art skill, so you can draw, kind of thing.
So I know how to do it. I would never call myself an artist, though. I'm a writer. I'm
More
a
of a
pure
writer.
writer. Yeah, I learned how to do the medium. I understand how to understand the animation process. So I apply it when I'm writing or when I'm scripting and when I'm paneling sometimes. But yeah, I do have some skill in drawing, but I'm a writer. I don't claim to be an artist. I couldn't compete.
Okay, so also something that you just said is interesting. So because you have the animation background, you then do you tend to sketch out your panels and send them to the artist? Because do you leave everything in his hands? Because
No, it's really been a process, and it's a combination depending on what I believe the artist is at that current moment. Because I've been at least trying this for like last almost 5+ years.
okay.
And I've worked with multiple artists, and all of them, they have some core things that are the same, but they're all quite different. I've ran into artists where they want you to be dang near micromanaging them. You know, they want everything right there, and then they got other artists where they're the experienced ones, so they don't want you to have too much in there. So it's a lot of back and forth, trial and error.
Right. So how does that? So do you write a full script or do you?
Yeah, I write a full script.
Write a full script.
Yeah.
Do you
And then I would like panel out sometimes I panel out the panels because I do practice paneling. I'm not really in terms of like putting the artwork in there, but I'll, you know what I'm saying, if this shot this page requires 3 panels, I'll sketch out the panel and I'll, you know what I'm saying,
pre-visualization stuff.
I can read. I know how to read. I know how to read a story and put it in a panel. I don't even need the script. I just know I'll do that. Or if I have the time, I'll give that to the artist. But again, through trial and error, it'll generally like that. If they want to do everything, but
that's
but I do a combination. Depends on. But for this
so
one,
I have
mostly. I let him do the comic. I let him do the panels the first chapter, and then I did most of the panels for the second one, and then it was like a bit of a hybrid for the third one.
Okay. So
before you
I have a bit of a. I just want to say something. I have a bit of an art background too, so I did art. So for me, having that knowledge and then reading books, what I've found was I would tend to only use it so that when I'm scripting, I know that what I'm scripting makes sense, but it's not impossible. So I will kind of do a little sketch out just to see that the page can work. Sometimes if there is a page that, you know, like I really, really want this to happen. So in one of my books, there's a 9-page grid where it's supposed to be suspense, and I kind of send that to them. But I find that from the time you send an artist a page layout or a sketch, it kind of breaks a little bit of their creativity. So I try not to do it. I let them kind of interpret the script how they see it, so it doesn't break their flow.
Yeah,
because it's
and they always offer suggestions afterwards, and that just creates a back and forth because they have their own stuff, and then like you kind of want it to look a certain way, but they come with their predisposed knowledge about stuff, and then
or they will copy it with all the mistakes, and then if you say, well, how come you did this, and they will say, well, you did that in your sketch, and then you realize, well, yeah, it was just but it all depends on how
placeholder or like a note for you to remember as an artist to put in there.
So it depends on the
Go ahead. No,
I was
I,
gonna say something. It
I,
depends on the artist.
Hmm?
Depends on the artist and the relationship. So if you got a good relationship and you've worked with someone long enough, you can get a synergy. Um, I've had synergy where I've written stuff, and I always leave a note in my script saying, if you think this can work in 6 panels or 4 panels, I give you the freedom to kind of to shift it. Uh, the beauty of it is that sometimes if somebody comes back and I review it, I can then say, well, you know, move this panel around, or I don't like this panel. And that's something that's very important in terms of getting the, do you get roughs from your artists? So I get these rough
Yeah,
sketches. Yeah. That's something
yeah,
that's very important to get.
yeah. I make sure I do that because I can edit on. I can do my best to edit it on top, and then I send it back, and then they'll give me like the updated one, and then approved, and then I go
Yeah.
to the final.
I find that's a tried and true way of kind of getting things done. You get less mistakes. You're on the same page uh, versus uh, working like. Do you do batches of pages, or do you do like one page at a time?
Batches.
Then batches, right?
Batches. Yeah, because if I've learned throughout the process, if I do one page, I had them do one page, and they send me that one page. That project took forever. And it took it took way too long. So I was like, now send me the whole thing, and
So you said
go from there.
you said you was doing it for 5 years. 5 years on this book, or you've done other
No,
books before this?
no others. I've had
Okay.
other projects. This is the first successful one I was actually able to get out. But I've worked on multiple throughout the years.
Okay.
Some with artists, and then some I've just like I said paneled out myself, and then I've scripted, and then it's in the archives waiting to be put out, like some anthology or whatnot. If I like I said, if I have the there you go from there.
So all the books you've done are in a similar genre. That's your so whatever stuff you
Nah,
what are the genres you like that
I
you
like
prefer
that
to?
fun. Now, my favorite is the action.
Mm.
I like the action. I like the fun, and then action adventure. I love world building. I love the understand. I don't. I like to. I like learning about different stuff, and so those would be my favorite. But one of them, I've done a small little superhero. I've done a small little superhero comic. I've done a fantasy shot. It's about 40 pages, roughly. With one of the guys I knew in school,
Mhm.
and then I've been, and this will be my sci-fi one. So
Okay.
Real quick, because you
Mhm.
guys were talking about synergy, and a lot of what you're talking about reminds me of this book that I'm holding right here. Uh, it's called Words for Pictures: The Art and Business of Writing Comics and Graphic Novels. The foreword's by Joe Quesada, but the book is written by Brian Michael Bendis. And so there's a lot of like things you might want to check out. This book's from like 2014, but he talks about his own process, and he talks about like what it's like working with the artist and how much he trusts, an artist, that whole synergy thing. Some of the advantages to this book, and it's actually a feature that I'm gonna do over the next couple of weeks, is where I'm gonna try to do a thing where I show you guys some interior pages from the book. But a lot of what he talks about, he has visual examples, actual scripts in there, actual scenes taken from comics. But some of the real valuable information is he has like a artist roundtable where you hear artists talk about like uh, some of the problems or issues that they have with writers, like putting too much on the page. And they're like, like we do like a page or two a day, and then sometimes the writer may not realize that those full page spreads, that takes about a week. And so it's good to see these guys talk about like some of the problems, hear him talk about the synergy. It also has an editors round table in there that I found to be very useful. Like just one interesting piece of information, like if you submit a script, one, know the editor, that you're submitting it to know the work that they do. Also, when it comes to Marvel and DC, do not submit work to them that uses their characters because they legally can't look at it. But then there's also helpful tips for like, new writers and things like that, like common mistakes that people make, whether it's submitting or actually working in the business. So it might be a bit of a useful book for you. And then near the end, there's a section done by his wife where they talk about the actual business. Like, I can't remember everything, but there's a lot of stuff in there that I highlighted because it's been a month or two since I've read the book.
Mhm.
But a lot of what you guys were recently talking about is in this book. Creative synergy, how they got started, or how he even got started. Just drawing things out and stuff like that. And then, because he also, like both of you guys, has a bit of an artist background, but eventually letting that go and then trusting his artists and things like that. So once again, it is a book called Words for Pictures, written by Brian Michael Bendis. Like I said, this book was written in 2014. I found it to be insightful. And so that's one of the things I want to, start doing is dropping those little resources, because it may help Alan. It may help you. Hell, it's enlightened me on some things. So
Yeah.
just wanted to put that out there for you to check it out. It's not a very thick book, but it's got at least 200 pages with pictures for those people that need pictures.
So Jamal, how did you pick your artists? You were friends, or did you just do you work together, or was it?
No, I put out an Indeed post, and then I looked through, and I picked them among the artists that applied. Oh yeah,
Okay.
from what I submitted, at least he had the strongest looking background, which I was among everybody that submitted. So I went with that.
Okay. You would say that you kind of picked someone. You wanted to pick someone who was local. What was the thought process behind that?
So that we can meet them generally physically at most events. I'm a more of a, I try to be, I would like to be more of a in-person type of, deal. While I understand where they, a lot of comic book creators, they will hire in foreign, either from like Spain, and there's quite a bit from, Latin America and whatnot.
A whole lot.
And then, there's a lot coming from, I think it's Dominican, Haiti, those, especially in terms of Black comics, they're popping up quite a bit more.
Mainstream wise, a lot of them come from Mexico and literally South America.
That like few years back when my first attempt at a lot of stuff here, I learned that, and even back then I was just like, and they were cheaper. So I was like, when I thought about it, I was like, I understand what the indie comics, their argument was for higher, but for me, I was always thinking of the, if I could meet you in person, and you know what I'm saying, even if it's during the process of the comic book, that'll be a plus for me. Or if you won't have to worry too much about the international travel. You come to America, I understand it's wildly expensive.
I mean,
so
Marvel has a lot of artists that are foreign. I mean, digital technology makes it easy for that, but it's once again that's also something that he talks about in the book, because I think like Sarah Pacelli is Italian, so they talk a little bit about that and how it's like to communicate over long distances. But I mean, I believe in person, you can build what Alan was saying, that synergy a little bit better, because you can be there. Like you look at like Stanley and Jack Kirby, they both lived in New York. There was a time where a lot of, especially Golden and Silver Age creators, they lived in New York. So you can even go to somebody's house
or anything like that. When you're one of the hubs, like the headquarters at one point.
Yeah, DC and Marvel were both headquartered in New York. DC eventually moved out to Burbank, and I believe they're on the Warner Brothers lot.
Or
close by it.
I remember that. That was among the main things why I chose the domestic over the international at the current time.
Yeah, there's a lot of advantages to it. If you do decide to do a con, you could do a con together. There's also one of the major things too with working with international artists is the language barrier. There's also things like that.
And the payment system.
Yes, the payment system is troubling.
Yeah,
That's one of the biggest issues you do get. Uh, a lot of people outside of America do not realize, or I should say, is Americans don't realize that outside of America, a lot of the cash app and money transfer stuff, it's a pain. It doesn't work because of certain countries' economical systems and different barriers and stuff. So yeah, payment can be tricky.
Yeah, 'cause some others I've had, they was like, Western Union. Others like they don't have. Others like they only have PayPal. Others like I can potentially make a Cash App work, but it ain't. I primarily do a thing like PayPal. I was like, now let me be safe with you and just kind of cut the loss on that. And
Yeah.
and then it definitely gets interesting. So I was like, I knew at the time, even now, I don't have the resources like I would like to really hire foreign talent. Because if I would, I'd probably go to Nigeria. There's a lot of
there's a lot of
in Nigeria.
I've
heard about, but
yeah,
those are among the reasons I stayed again domestic.
I also imagine having somebody who you can reach out and touch cuts down on scams, because I know in certain groups people post artwork and whatnot, and it's like, then you find out that person, that's not really their artwork, so I imagine being in person, like you can actually physically look at the portfolio. I know nowadays it's cool to be digital, but I imagine being able to see that person and see their actual work is probably also beneficial too, because I know you are who you say you are. Dealing with, it doesn't even have to be foreign time. It could just be somebody across the country. It's like it's easy to lie with digital. But then again, I also imagine there's enough, not being naive, I imagine there's also enough honest people that are like, if you don't believe this is my work, here's other ways to prove it.
Yeah. I've definitely gotten that. But
yeah. You do get cases where the what I would say, the issue you will get within the indie community trying to find artists, so many artists, but there's also artists that they're good, but they're not great. So a lot of their skills still need to be polished. So you're kind of working with them. They're working with you. Everybody's kind of taking a chance with each other, kind of thing. That's the beauty of it, but that's also sometimes as you go further up, that's the difficulty trying to sift through the different artists to get the best talent on your project, because you're trying to get the best talent. Because face it, comic books, it's a team thing. You need a good story, you need good art. I'm learning right now you need marketing, because if you produce a good book and you can't sell it, it doesn't make any sense. So these things are all a part of the learning thing process. These are things that you're kind of starting to pick up on and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely a long one too.
So what are some of your influences? What influenced you to do this recent story? How did this idea come to you?
So two of the biggest ones is it is a Star Wars. It is a Star Wars reference, and then it was also I wanted to. I had an older story. Like I said, it was more of a Star Wars reference, and then for this one, I also wanted to challenge myself. I was the last project I had did. It was a superhero one. It was a young superhero one, and then I was pitching an idea to one of the smaller indie comics, and I was like, oh, so I have this, what I'm saying, I already had like Star Wars esque idea kind of brewed out. So let me actually make a comic out of it, so that I'm not just creating and not really doing like comic creation, because I still want to, all my stories that I create, I do want to make a comic book out of them. So for this one, I wanted to go that route.
I got a question. I mean, it's not really. I'm curious. What was the first comic book you ever read?
The first comic book I ever read. So I'm on the Japanese side, so I'm not really a big American comic guy.
Well, manga is just Japanese comics, so it could be either or.
Yeah, but I make sure to be explicitly clear when I separate those two, because those are different. Japanese is definitely not an American comic. A lot of people get that mixed up, especially when they call anything a manga. I never really. I definitely associate manga not just with any comic book. It's Japanese specific. But that's the way I grew up. But my first comic overall, it would be Dragon Ball.
Okay.
Because I asked because I just want to know, like, because I know Alan asked you when you got started. I want to know when you got hooked. Like, what made you a fan, whether it's manga or American or Western comics. Like, what made you a fan of this medium?
This medium as a whole, it started from DC, because my favorite character is Batman. I started my first introduction into this, I'll say this medium overall. It wasn't on the comic book side, it was on the animated side. So Batman animated series, my favorite animated series. I know a lot of people say
it still holds the test of time.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I'm definitely in it. The movies too. Oh man.
Not the movies so much.
I enjoyed it. I have to look at them in a different light as an adult, because I've done that.
Yeah, you really got to.
And it looks differently. Yeah, but
I'll give you an instance, because I'm like you. I enjoyed the movies as a kid, but I didn't realize, like, for anybody who's watching, go back and put on Batman Returns. It is 30 minutes. You are at 29 minutes before you either see Bruce Wayne or Batman. Go back and watch it. You almost 30 minutes in the movie before you see Michael Keaton. I didn't know that as a kid. You know what I'm saying? So I do look at him as a different light, but no, I was a fan of Batman.
Well, more on the animated side.
No, I was gonna say I like
Batman. He's talking about animated movies. Talking about animated, but he's talking about the Batman animated movies. He's a fan of the Batman.
Yeah, I like the live actions, but I definitely know what you're talking about with the live actions, because especially the older ones.
No, I mean, I like them. You know, you get to the Val Kilmer and George Clooney ones. Now we got problems, but those are the Joel Schumacher films. But I saw Batman: Mask of the Phantasm. I think it's still a great movie.
Yeah,
but part of the reason bringing up the live action, Batman the animated series, as you saw it, would not have happened if it was not for the success of Batman and Batman Returns. It was so successful that Batman the animated series did not have to reuse songs. Like, after the initial title song, damn near every episode had an original song. That is rare for animation. But yeah, I love the Bruce Timm stuff, except Superman. That's the only one I dislike. And I was also a fan of X-Men, the animated series too.
Yeah, so I was about to go. Yeah, I started Batman. Man, it'd be definitely my favorite. I remember watching, seeing X-Men Evolutions, a few of the Spider-Man. But then, in terms of Marvel and DC, I'm more of a DC guy. As opposed to Marvel, I have more. I like more DC characters. Like, in terms of superheroes, again, Batman's he was my favorite. But in terms of actual, like, superpowers, it would be the Flash, because I do like speed. And then, I do love the, Teen Titans, the original one, not Go. I aged out of Go. Justice League, Unlimited. And then, and then I came up of the Cartoon Network and Disney, and Johnny Bravo.
I liked all those. Yeah, I liked Batman the animated series. I didn't care for Superman. Batman Beyond.
Me neither. But I understand why they liked it so much.
Yeah. What is it? Batman Beyond is so for me, but Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, top notch. Regular Teen Titans, top notch.
Yeah, I enjoy that.
Teen Titans Go has its place. Like, I went to the theater and saw its movie, you know what I'm saying? But it has its place.
Wow. I couldn't do it. It was far too cartoonish for me. I think if they had done it, you know what I'm saying, that, you know, switched up like the characters, or they used like characters from, say, like the Titans comic, not just like the branch off the show Teen Titans Go, it probably would have read a little better for me. But when you ref off something that was already created, especially after so long, for me, it rarely, if ever, is done right. And I'm really nitpicky. I've noticed that growing up with stuff. So, and then like I said, I have, you know, I got into Toonami because I'm a Cartoon Network guy, you know, the Adult Swim. So that's where the anime, you know, came from. And then once I started, you know, I was one of those, once I got past the last episode of the current episode, I was like, I need more. And I started really going heavily into the manga. And then like I honestly given DC their comic books a shot, but every time I would start with Batman because it is my favorite, but then I get recommended a Batman book. Like the 2 Batman books I got recommended, was one of them, I can't remember the name, but ended up being Batman feeding Robin some rats and whatnot. And I was like, that's not what I was looking for. I understand it dark and gritty, but I was like, I don't see why you're doing. I couldn't get into it. And then another one, it was when New 52 came out. And
okay, yeah, I can see how
I was able to read like 1 or 2 chapters of Batman. Then it was like, okay, well, read this one, read the others to get it point. I was like, I couldn't.
DC had a novel idea. I know people probably think, well, they drifting off, but this is what we like to do. DC had a novel idea with the New 52. They just didn't execute it properly. Like superheroes,
it was a reboot, huh?
It was a complete universal reboot. Like everything started over, because by that point, DC realized they had been around for 70 years. Because this is like New 52 was like what, 2012. DC had been around for about 74 years. Yeah. Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman had been in constant print for about 70 of those. So it's a lot of history, and it's hard to explain to people. The golden age, the silver age, which relates to Earth 1, Earth 2, Earth 3.
Yeah, because they had like the Crisis on Infinite Earths, because they're having so many versions of them, huh?
So
they're legit wiping out whole universes.
Yeah. So originally in 1985-86, so I'm 41, so that's a year to 2 years after I was born. The original Crisis on Infinite Earths was set up to fix DC's continuity.
Yeah,
but even then, it wasn't completely fixed, because then several years later they had to do 0 Hour, and that kind of held things together, like using wet gum to stick 2 pieces of paper together. Then they did Infinite Crisis, that also added and was there to fix a little bit of the continuity issues. Then after that, they did Final Crisis, which was supposed to be the last time they fixed their fucking continuity. Didn't work. They do the New 52. Well, actually, that Final Crisis leads into the New 52. And it had a novel idea. Superheroes like the Justice League had only been around for 5 years. One of the major problems was, if that's the case, how does Batman already have 5 fucking Robins and one of them is a grown-ass man? Like, so they stumbled on themselves. But there were also 52 new titles. So there were a lot of books that got a new title. And, you know, they did it in waves. So they had a novel approach, whereas Marvel did a soft reboot, which it was like, okay, if we're going to do Secret Wars, why the fuck did you kill off the multiverse only to restart the shit 6 months after the event of Secret Wars? At least DC restarted completely. And then people complained about the New 52. Oh, Wally West isn't a redheaded Irish guy. Well, that's the fucking point of redoing the universe completely, was to switch things up and, you know, do what they do. But it
happens. It's the reason why I don't really kind of a lot of Marvel and DC. I would read kind of the shorter runs or special series.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Like I read a few of the All-Star books. Those are, you know what I'm saying, those are pretty all right.
Yeah. So I can.
DC Comics All Star Batman and Robin, All Star Superman. That was DC's attempt to make a line of comics similar to what Marvel was doing at the time with the original Ultimate Universe.
Yeah, because it was an imprint, huh?
Yeah. But it just didn't go anywhere. I don't think any of those books got more than 10 issues.
Yeah.
Like to this day, I still don't know what the complete Superman run of that looks like. I think it had maybe 2 or 3. So, but that's what it was. I kind of remember it was, I think their original what they said was that it's a new world so that the creators could be more creative. But everybody was like, okay, so this is Ultimate DC. You tell us whatever you want, but it's Ultimate DC.
Yeah. But it helps breathe life into the series. You can only do one story over and over again so much. So that's why things like the new Absolute series is refreshing because it's a different take. You kind of do what you want. And it doesn't break the other universe, and it gives the writers a little freedom. So I do understand. If you understand the reasoning behind all of this stuff, it doesn't surprise you. When I was growing up, I thought characters, when they died, they were dead, or it was more serious. It was a more serious time, that kind of shit.
Yeah. Me too. That took a minute to get. Like, I still ain't completely over that.
What? Which one?
The characters dying and they coming back. Because I remember the death of Superman.
Yeah. So it was more. Yeah, I remember when they did the fake tote deaths and stuff. But no, it's a thing that if they killed whoever, I think every superhero has died at some point in the mainstream at some point.
At least
something like that. I mean, probably like so now. I mean, it's been a joke. It was a joke even back in the mid 2000s that death started to have a revolving door. Like Captain America would have stayed dead had they not have come up with a Captain America movie. Because by the time they came out with the Captain America movie, Cap had been dead like 2 years. He would have stayed dead had they not have come up with that movie. But more recently, like Kamala Khan dying, we already knew she was coming. They had literally said she was coming back in 6 months as a mutant, all because of the MCU. And it's just like, okay, this is what we're doing now.
Yeah. So it's like, it doesn't have any weight, or it doesn't carry any meaning anymore. So
not at all. Not at all. I mean, death of Superman. Now, sometimes death happens, but it's because of legal reasons. That's why they killed Superboy in the mid 2000s, because they were in a legal dispute with Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster's estate over who owned Superboy. So temporarily, DC killed him. But now with death, especially mainstream, the only people that die usually are side characters or characters that were severely important to the mythos, like Uncle Ben. The original Uncle Ben is never coming back. You want Uncle Ben, you better go buy that rice at the grocery store. But that's it. Or you better go get him from an alternate universe, because his death is so integral to Peter Parker. Yeah. Hell, the death of a loved one we now know for the Spider-Man. What do they say? It's a something event, whatever. Them people ain't coming back. Who else is it? Like Superman's original parents aren't coming back. Krypton's not coming back. It's too central to who they are.
Yeah, mythos. Yeah.
Right.
But because it is getting late, we do want to. It's fun, but I do want to put these up on the screen. Oh, can I not put this up? Oh, well. So this is Koakungy. This is his book. We'll talk about this a little bit, and then I'll put up the second one because I'm screen sharing. It won't let me just put it up. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about this.
So that's the bottom map of the first continent of Koakungy, and that's where he actually lands. Mm-hmm. It's actually you can looking at the map, you can track the first 2 chapters.
Okay, that's great.
Off the map. As a matter of fact, if you I'm pointing at the screen like an idiot.
Hold on, let me see. Let me get on it. Can you guys see my cursor? Do you see the screen moving? Because I'm looking directly at the screen.
No.
Okay.
Well, that's fine. If you see towards the bottom of where the boot is at, you see like that. I took a lot of the forest out so I could visualize this in the character.
Right in here.
Yeah, there's a tree right there, and then right off to the left of the little bottom, that is actually the first ruins, and then there's like 2 trails that leads off to the coast.
Yeah.
So if you follow the start from them 2 trails, and that right north above there is the initial spot where Andin landed and engaged with the turtle.
Right here?
Yeah, it's right. It's like right in that little. I can't see your cursor.
Oh shoot! Because I see a blue. I see a blue marker, but shoot.
So did you design?
What was your question?
Did you design the map?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
And the map keeps track of everything for the map keeps track of everything for me.
Okay, do you guys see this?
Nah.
Oh man, come on, work with me. Work with me. Oh, you know what? I know what's happened. Stupid me. Stupid me. I got it loaded as a PDF. It's not the screen share. Oh my god, I'm so stupid.
I had to learn that with StreamYard too. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So I like the concept of doing a map. A map actually adds a lot of world building to a project. I actually want to do a map for my project.
Yeah, it definitely keeps the pacing. For any advice I would give, that definitely keeps the pacing good too. At least how
there we go. Now you guys can see it.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, that encircled area, that'll be where the next few chapters come around. But that is the general area right above, right where the top right corner of the circle is, right there. So if you were reading chapter 2, you know where like in the first chapter, he's like, where it's the tall grass. There's a giant giga lizard in there. That's the area he's talking about, because the turtle shot. You see that small little space above those grasses, right there. Yeah, I see your cursor now.
Okay, I don't want to completely. I'm trying to find the damn eraser tool, because if this was Photoshop, I'd be able to find that shit. You talking about right in here?
Yeah, and so what you circle right there, that's the tall grass that Andrew's speaking about in the second chapter. And that's all. And then like that little space you had that's right above it, that's where he landed. And the shot from the turtle, I know that if you read the first chapter, the turtle lets it known, you know what I'm saying, he doesn't know exactly where the ruins is, but he's letting off more than he knows. Because he shoots in the direction of the. And now, if you go down from your cursor, yeah, right there. That's the first ruins. He shoots directly in that area, and which would put it a little wider to catch that little tree in the top right portion.
Oh, right.
Yeah, he shoots in that area. And that's where Andin in the second chapter, that's where Andin is like, okay, I can either I can continue to fly to the tree, make it faster, or I can go ground level, because he states, it's either close to that tall grass or the tree. And if you remember, the reason he goes to the ground floor is because he noticed the giga lizard in the tall grass. He was like, "Nah, I'm not about to do that, because if I do that, I don't think I'm gonna be able to take that giga lizard, because he definitely wouldn't be able to. He definitely wouldn't taking that. He definitely wouldn't taking that large turtle. So that was the so that's why he went in the ground floor, and then that's when he runs into. So when he was exploring, he also wanted to know, when you read the first chapter, the very first page, like, his elders are confident in survival capabilities and his competency. So he wanted to another thing where he wanted to do on the ground floor was find, you know, a source of water, source of food. Because if he's just flying above, he's not gonna find that. And that was my thinking. I was wondering, also thinking, my thinking going into it. And again, it's just like the cover, it's an exploration event. He about to explore, but he is. The way I structured it, he was going from that, and then leading on to the forest, and then, you know, hey, I'm gonna go to the tree, since I can't go to the ground floor, the forest, not the forest floor, but the tall grass. So that's where he's going to in the second chapter. And when he gets to the waterfall, that's actually his second water source. So he's actually backtracking so that he keeps, in terms of survival, at least that's what I was thinking. He came up to the tree when he flew down first by the tall grass. He found his first water source, was that little stream, and then he found the second source, was the waterfall. He's also keeping track of his movements, which I was thinking about. And then as he saw the tree, he knows he's still going in the right direction from the initial blast of the turtle from chapter 1. So when he runs into go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you. So where is he from? Because this is a new land to him. So where is he from?
Yeah, it's a completely different planet. So he's from his home world. So I didn't focus on this home world or too much. So I don't have the name. I don't have the names of the actual home world or anything like that. I do know, like, his people. He's a Bolshian. So it's the way I came up with it, which is why he's a pyrokinetic, is combustion, like, you know, explosions and whatnot. So that's why I gave him the fire. That's why I had him. He's a pyrokinetic. He's of the Bolshian race. And I just briefed, they themselves, they migrated to this current system that they're in right now. And where Andon is, he's a student.
Okay.
So he achieved top marks, and then he was able to explore. He was able to explore Koakungy as a reward. You know what I'm saying? But he had to return, like, part of his task is returning that artifact. So that's why he's on. That's the primary reason he's on Koakungy. And that's one of his artifacts. So if you scroll up, actually, go up. So this is what I mean when I say he, like, in the first 2 chapters, he's actually doing what he. So when he runs into the first one, their confidence, survival capabilities, and then that's why they allowed him to go to Koakungy alone. Normally, they would not have allowed any of their youth to go to the planet alone.
Okay.
Like, a lot of it's in. I'll just let you know, because one of the main reasons Koakungy is the furthest out, in terms of their system. Among the furthest out, it's not the furthest out. It's probably like 2 or 3 furthest out from their actual home world. So, him being a student, even though he achieved top marks, and even though they're confident, They were confident that he alone, he'll be able to do it, and that's why he's there. But in terms of saving him, it is the furthest out. If that helps at all.
Yeah.
That's all stuff. I mean, that's good information though, since we read it. But that's also stuff that, like, let me get back on the actual screen here. That's stuff that, like, you can always talk about in a later story arc. You know, when if you don't have anything to write, I could do a story. I could do a story arc. You know, delving into his background, his past, his people, stuff like that. And it can also be a way to help also introduce new story elements, new mythos. You know, stuff like you could introduce something during that he doesn't get to until like 20 issues later. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's definitely baked in there. You're definitely gonna learn about him as a Bolshian. My primary is Koakungy. That's why I named it the planet itself, because that's why I didn't develop too much of the planet of the Bolshians and them. I have I got a bit of their biology. I know why he, why he is, how he's a pyrokinetic, how he came into be, the generations. I have that, so I still have a firm understanding of how he's interacting with the world, because he actually goes. I guess I'll spoil it a little bit. he actually goes through one or two evolutionary traits, and that's due to the biology of his people.
Okay.
So that's one, and that is one thing. And then I do mention, there are, parts of the history of the Bolshevik, but I made for Koakungy, I made sure to put the largest emphasis of my time developing the story on Koakungy, saying the planet itself.
No, that's good. That's good. So, because I remember taking a creative writing class in college, and one thing I learned is traditionally when people come up, like when they do literary writing, it's like you introduce a character, then you spend the next paragraph describing that character. When the reality is, another writing method is you can describe that character throughout the book, and
Yeah, you
just
can describe that character throughout the dialogue, their facial expressions,
yeah,
how they
you
interact.
you don't even you don't have to
Yeah,
do like you don't have to do like what kids do, where it's like I introduced Sarah, and then you give a physical description. Like you said, you can introduce it through dialogue. You can have another character speak and say, "Oh, well, you got your hair braided, you dyed it red," stuff like that, and that still
yeah,
gives the reader all the pertinent information. Um, but yeah, everything that's great because that gives you something to talk about later. You don't have to info dump it all at once.
Mhm.
Even
Yeah.
characters.
Now, just say as a creator, you don't have to iron out everything until you need it. So if you don't know,
Yeah. You can
don't
get tunnel
because
vision real quick, and
yeah,
and
yeah,
sometimes it'll take you away from actually
yeah,
like the sometimes if you over lore it, it may sometimes take you away from the immediate chapter to chapter. And
yeah.
I try my best to avoid that.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I know a
That
lot of people who get caught trapped in the world building,
yeah,
where they've never gotten out of the world building stage because they went too deep into it.
yeah,
So then they got caught up with the country's economy and the flora and the fauna and the mating rituals, and the birds,
yeah,
and then they never got around to doing the story because they got sidetracked with. So for me, I know a lot of this stuff. I may have I tend to jot down my ideas in a book or in a Google Doc.
yeah.
So I have a Bible. Yeah, so I have a World Bible that's built slowly from me jotting down stuff, but it's more as a reminder for when I need to pull an event, for a story or information.
Yeah.
But I try not to dabble too much in that World Bible fixing and tweaking stuff because it's not important until it makes its way to the page of the comic book.
Yeah.
So I want to say so because that's why TV shows have showrunners. That's their job, is to keep track of that. I mean, it's also why comic books have line editors, to remind you, like, hey, you've got these XYZ things here to keep track of it. So, and then something you guys said about like getting too into it. That's actually a part of an op-ed I'm working on about the premise of a story, right? It's like you lean into your premise, but you don't want to drown in it. And one of the things I mentioned is like if you're doing like you're doing like a murder mystery set in this Afrofuturistic world, and your premise is to show how Afrofuturism helps solve it. That's great. You lean into it, but you don't want to drown in it. Because like what Alan said, you spend more time showing me all of this Afrofuturistic shit, but the actual idea you have, the theme, gets lost because you spend more time showing me this and that. You've drowned in your premise instead of showing me how your premise executes your theme or idea.
Mhm.
So that's why I was smiling, because I was like, yeah, that's a part of that's part of my next op-ed piece. But I also have this highlighted because in my review of issue 2, I made mention of these things, and Alan, you were right. That's my fault because it had been a while since I read Koakungy 1 before I read, reading code. I forgot that the 2 squares that show up actually do have a purpose. Initially, when I was reading, I was like, perfect cubes don't appear in nature. why does he have this if they don't
Oh,
do anything? And it's so this is taking accountability. Like I missed that because it was a detail that was actually. So if you guys have read my review, I bring this up. It was actually a detail that was introduced in issue 1, but it had been some time since I read issue 1 before I read issue 2. So I made that mistake. That's on me. He did actually mention these things, and that's why I have it on this right here. You will see the cube again. I don't think you see the circle again, the sphere, but you do see the cubes again in issue 2.
yeah, because if I could, that'll be the, and that's part of the bullshits also that I wanted to keep make sure that everybody I made sure that keep in the story so that when it comes up, I didn't want to be too in depth with that explanation because in my humble opinion, it just would have kind of took away.
Yeah, it's something you can always explain later. I was trying to find my actual favorite moment in this. This is where I said in my initial review that it's kind of looked like, it kind of like it was photocopied and it was made too dark. Where is my actual favorite?
That's actually just toning though. That's tonal thing. Did you have the same artist on both books or is this a different?
It's the same artist throughout. I want to. That's also a goal of mine. At least for these first 3, I do want to be as consistent as I can with the artist because I didn't want to just this project is not just I wanted the artists to show off themselves too because they wouldn't just I want to show off my storytelling capabilities and everything in my writing, and then I still also wanted the artists to show off their art for saying any opportunities that would not going their way. But yeah, it's them. It's the same artist throughout, and it's the same artist for chapter 3.
Okay. So chapter 3 is in production right now.
Yeah, I should have it out in the next month or so.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, good, bro. When I get some bread, I'll get an actual studio. I'm trying to find my actual favorite moment. It was some with the turtle. Y'all just keep on talking. I'm gonna find this because I'm one of those people now. I have to find it. I'd be damned if I let this beat me.
Okay.
Y'all go.
Did you have any questions of the story, or have you seen anything?
No, I find it's a very interesting story. The art style is very unique. And then you was saying that it reads or it feels like more fantasy, but you're saying that you was telling me that you kind of see it more as sci-fi.
Yeah, I had because again the in terms of like the real life stories that are most affected, it probably would be movie wise, it probably would be a Star Wars reference. So I got, and then the how much I've implemented in terms of the power kinetics, telekinetics, and everything like that, and as the story progressed, I was thinking it was more of a sci-fi. But I still understand the fantasy aspect of everything.
So when I first read it, right, what it brought to mind, I don't know if you would be familiar with it. It's a pretty old video game. It reminds me of Shadow of the Colossus. It just kind of had that.
Wasn't that the PS2?
Yeah,
PS3.
They did a remake on PS. They did a remake on PS3, but the original is a PS2 game.
Okay. Yeah, where it's like you're not doing much true fighting in the game. It's vastly exploration.
Yeah, vastly exploration and boss battles. So every time you fight something, it's just a giant creature. So this gave me that vibe where it was, it has that lost civilization kind of feel. So you're there. You know that there were people that were there before, but there's no sign of them. So you're kind of exploring, as you said, and you're just traveling. You don't know how you're going to get to this next part, but somehow it always works out. And then you fight this massive colossus, and it just rinse and repeat. It's a very good game. They did a remake on the PS3.
Okay, yeah, I do remember. I didn't get to play it. It did look nice, but I was in the other games at the moment, but I do remember that game.
Yeah. So do video games also influence your
Yeah,
your creativity?
yeah, a lot. In terms of like if you look at that, you could probably from what I got, you could probably make a small retro video game than what I got.
Hmm.
Quite, and I'm still confident it's linear enough for you to follow. Like if you have one of those, you ever played on PlayStation Network or the Xbox Live, one of those 2D pixelated, side scrollers.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
got a couple of those in my
What
wish
I
list.
yeah, well, because I have the planet map. I don't just have that bottom portion of the cover. I got the planet map.
You got a world map.
Yeah, I got a world map. Yeah, to be more accurate. And I already got the beats. I already have his linear path and what he is engaging with, what type of animals and the lore and what he's discovering.
Okay.
And that, so I could if I could make a small little RPG like pixel game out of that.
So that reminds me of something that Shonda Rhimes said, like when she was talking about like her writers bringing a story to her. They're like, she was always like, "Do not bring me a story if you do not know how it ends."
Oh yeah, I know how it is. I know the beginning, middle, and the
end. That's good. That's good. That's good.
And the end, so you guys probably won't. If I could make it to the end, financials help me. When you get to the end, you gonna definitely see the Star Wars ref because a lot of it is really the well, I ain't gonna spoil it for you, but don't spoil Star Wars ref. You definitely see it in the very end of why I say it's a Star Wars, because a lot of everything in Koakungy itself, it may not relate to Star Wars specifically, because I didn't want to I don't like to take like planet a lot of stuff and ideas from them, but like I still like Star Wars, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's still without a doubt a little bit of bleed off effect in there. And then I also watched Star Talk by Mr.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah. I'll be on this Star Talk stuff. So a lot of that, that also has helped me out with the building.
That's awesome.
Okay. So it seems like you've kind of studied things like the hero's journey, the 3-act structure, whatnot like that.
So not completely. I have more of the Disney, the Disney training on it, as because one of my professors was on Disney. He was one of the guys that worked on Beauty and the Beast.
Okay.
One of the animators, and his wife was there too, and another guy that was there. So I have a little bit more. I have a blend. I like to think I have a little bit of a blend between the two storytelling styles that I like to expand upon.
Well, you don't necessarily need a blend. You kind of need both, because the hero's journey, like I don't say, is where he begins, where he ends. The 3-act structure is just about what happens in the first part of the book, what happens in the second, and then what happens in the end. True. Real quick, guys, because we are reaching, I do want to say, for any background noise that may bother people, hey, I'm in my living room, so I don't have a dedicated office space. This is a house lived in, so it is what it is. The other thing is, I found it. I liked this moment right here. You start, you see where his head is here, and then this was probably the panel I enjoyed the most, because this is some shit I would do. Too bad. Sleep, bitch.
Yeah.
I'll try to wrap up the comedic moment for that, Dawson.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that.
That scene and the actual talking to the turtle and stuff actually reminded me a lot of Alice in Wonderland. Yeah, it's very much this. It has
talk to the cat.
No, she actually talks to a giant turtle in it, and it was because and this isn't Disney. Growing up, there was tons of different versions of Alice in Wonderland, and because it did everything with practical effects, a lot of it was very creepy and disturbing. Mm-hmm. So it does remind me of the Alice in Wonderland, that I kind of grew up as a kid. Just the mere fact to talking with a giant turtle and the turtle having knowledge and that kind of stuff. But it's been great talking with you and getting insight into this world and everything. Uh, how long did it take you so far to produce these 3 books, you'd say?
How long it take me to produce them?
Yeah. You say
about 9 months to a year, because I hired my artist once I had everything scripted out, and like this last January.
Okay, that's good. That's a good pace. Yeah, that's gonna keep going. As a creator, you will, meet hurdles and stuff. But the main thing is not to stop. Keep going. Keep pushing on, and push out those books. And I like what you said, where you're trying to do the consistency. At least keep an artist on for a number of books before you shift. Consistency helps with the reader being familiar with the story, the character, that kind of stuff. That's something that we face as indie creators, losing artists and not having the same artist on the project for more than 2 books. Mm-hmm.
Real quick for everybody, this is chapter 2 or issue 2 of the story right here. I wanted to put that up real quick because we're reaching the hour and 15-minute mark.
Yeah.
So before we go further, I want you to be able to tell people where they can get the books to, because it's got to be getting late where you are, Alan, and where you also are, Jamal.
I mean, I'm good. It's 8 where I'm at, so it's not late at all for me.
But you want to tell people?
Yeah, you can find. So again, so you can. It's free. Just you contact me. I'm on all socials. I'm on from Twitter to Facebook to Instagram. I got Patreon. I do have Substack. So you can find me on all of the medias. Just give me a DM, saying you'd like to check it out, and I'll go ahead and send it to you. Send to you free of charge. But if you wanted to, support the artist, support the project or whatnot, you can just go to my site, lapiscomics.com, and then you can purchase it. I got the first chapter, second chapter. I got the deluxe edition for chapter 1 that's going to give you a lot more insight into the process. Got the script on there, and then those are the primary you can find for the chapter.
So earlier, guys, when I mentioned about my review for issue 2, this is can you guys see?
Yeah, I can see you highlighted it.
Okay, this is where I made my mistake. This is what I was talking about, because like I said, he does bring these things up in issue 1, but it had been some time. But when I initially read it, and if you read my review, I'm like, these serve no purpose. And my initial thought behind it was, once again, perfect cubes don't happen in nature. So this is where
I know we'd be late because we were shooting the shit, which this is why I like, this is what I wanted to do. I didn't mind. We can I can go a little further into detail for chapter 2, also for this, because that is that. And then when I remember you said in the review, you said that you didn't understand why he didn't fly out in the first. I remember when he was running away.
Yeah.
That's because he actually is losing his concentration because he's wheezing. Now, if you go back to the first page of chapter 1, he gets warned of 2 things. The first one is the turtle. No, I think I actually put the turtle as first, but the second one was actually not to overexert yourself because once you come to Koakungy, they told him it's kind of a bit elevated, so it's going to take a minute for you to
acclimate.
Get acclimated. So when he's getting chased by the jaguar, the time he already from the first page or 2, he already made a decision to hit the ground floor, and then by the time he got when he was that close to the jaguar before running, my thought process was, well, he ain't gonna be able to fly out because that jaguar in my opinion was far too. The way I had it, he was far too big. He was gonna swipe him. His pyramid's got to come from under his cape. So like right there, his pyramids, the way I was having him, especially as a kid. I understand he's still survival, but as a kid, and especially where because his pyramids is underneath his cave, they're not coming out. My thought process was that's not coming out fast enough for that baby to not swipe him. And then it also shows. I tried to confirm it a little bit more about because if you go down when he slides up the tree, also when you thought it was he went to another cliff, Ronald, go towards the bottom. Good, keep going. I'll explain that one too, but keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Right here, when he slides up, to my understanding, you thought this was a cliff. Is that true? In your review, because
I thought right about here, because if you look at how tall this tree is versus here, it kind of does look like a cliff.
So that is the when he was saying there, so that's him sliding up the large tree. He's from the like chapter 2, and that was supposed to meant to be look more of an emergent layer among the emergent layers. So go down. The tree itself is the second emergent layer, and then that go up
right here.
Start right there. Yeah, those trees right there was supposed to be the. I was trying to get my artist to understand that would be the first emergent layer. He already crossed the first emergent layer, so he has a high advantage point to see down. And he saw it he saw the Keepom tree a little further out in the distance. So really, in terms of I told my artist, I try and look at things like the rule of third or like the 4 mid and background. I was trying to make Andon right here the foreground, and then the mid ground, and then the tree the background. So I understand that and that's why I understand it got lost a bit. So I'll take that hit, but that was
and here's what I want you to think. I don't want you to think it's a hit. It's something like, okay, it just wasn't, because I don't want it to seem like it was a test and you lose. I don't know. I just don't. For me, it don't sit well, because it's like, because you are a sensible person, it's like, okay, he's willing to talk. Like, it's not a hit. It's just something you probably didn't realize, didn't know. I look at it, it's a learning experience, because when you look at this looks like flat grass, or and so there's not enough definition, and that may not
to separate the grass between the first emergent layer. Yeah, I can understand with it.
And so so you see now, from my perspective, it was like, okay, he went to a cliff, like, what the hell? But it just takes some more definition, and this is why, like I said, the art's not bad, but it still just looks like a very polished storyboard. So more contrast, more shadow, to cause separation, or even little splotches of color, even if it's light color, would help, especially even in the background right here. Because if you you look here, it's starting to fade, so there's no separation almost between, especially right in here, between the ground. God damn, get this shit off of here. Stop it. Like, hold on. Control Z. Like right in here, there's no separation between the ground and the sky. Yeah. And so, it's just one of those things. And then once again, not so much.
This is where I was. Go ahead. I'll let you finish.
No. Not the negative space thing is not so much a problem here, but even then, light color. But just you could just see there's just spaces for more definition. And then this was one of the other things. It's like you end the story right here, and it's like that's like ending a story in the middle of a conversation. And like me and Alan, we've said off camera, like, you got to lead me somewhere, which is something you did very well in issue number 1. When you ended the conversation, you ended it with the turtle being funny, which gave it personality, and then you had the turtle guide Andon in the direction in which he's supposed to be going. But at this, I'm just like, okay, where are we going with this? He's still being chased, and he's just crossing a creek.
So if I could quickly, well, how much time we got? Because we
got. I just want to keep track. It's really more so for Alan, because he's in a later time zone than us.
Yeah. So let me know. We can definitely take it up at a different. But that's why one of the things, again, I went over. I said in the favorite comment, I think it went over your head, because he is going somewhere. He's going towards that Keepom tree. And actually, he's crossing the river. So if you go scroll up, so I try to have it. Also, well, that's probably gonna take a little longer the next page, because it was a small little detail and I put it in there. But you go up, go up. Well, right. So stop right there. So a few things. He is going literally on track from what he said in the very first like page or two. He's going. His checkpoint was the big tree. He's at the big tree. Not only which confirm and then not only that, the keep-home tree is his next. The keep-home tree, which was supposed to be, I was aiming for, yes, his next big clue, because it's his first time on the planet. The fact that he recognized a keep-home tree, and that's why I was looking for the dialogue and putting it like, oh, Mr. Erno has one of those. His professor has one of those. How does he have his? How does his? You know what I'm saying? How does the professor? He doesn't know. How does the professor have the same tree that's on his planet he ain't never been to? And so that was the. And then not only when he go, if you actually, he's looking over his left shoulder. Yeah, so he's looking over his left shoulder.
Yeah.
When he's running up, and then when you go down, when he dashes right down, and then if you look at these two panels. Or this one right here that's right under the circle. I would, if I could ask, what direction you think he's going in?
Let's see.
And if you actually scroll down a little bit more, because it's a combination panel. Both these panels go quite literal hand in hand. If that now I was aiming for.
No, they look like they go together, but direction was because this is fainter. This would have to be, I want to say where he goes to first. Is it him going from here to here?
So no, I would say look at the head. Look at the head movement directly in the center. He's looking to the left, and then and then he's going to the right. And I faded it out so that it looks like. Have you guys read Dragon Ball? Are you familiar with Dragon Ball?
I'm familiar with it a little bit, not on a super level.
Yeah. So another thing also, we are coming from the so this is a Dragon Ball reference. It's an after image reference.
Oh.
So he's like this is him doing his absolute best to avoid that Jaguar. Like he is wheezing. I've tried to make sure that the reader understands that as repetitive as it is. He's overexerting himself, and again, it goes back to what the first chapter was: don't overexert yourself. He's in a.
That is something that I would say that if you did do, looking at it now, it does. We do see that the overexertion is.
Yeah, and the one on the right is the clear picture of Andon, not these two. Yeah. Those two are little after images. It's getting more faded on this one, and that's the clear one because that's the direction Andon is going to avoid him. And then if you go down. Again, look at Andon's head. It's going to the left. Now go down. Scroll down to the next page. What direction is the head to go into the Jaguar? It's going in the same direction. Andon was doing his best to fool him. And you probably can't see it a bit, but I try my best to have the after image even more vague. And so he's going off. He's actually going off to his left when he was on the tree looking at the keep-home tree.
So here's Andon. So yeah.
So that's the last of the after image from the previous panel. And that's what I was having the eye to try and fool it. So when at the bottom, he's like, I hope I fooled it, because if I turn around and this Jaguar still following me, I'm kind of
close.
So I was trying to create some suspense, bit of suspense with that. And I was working on including the dialogue, the wheezing, because he goes from huffing like midway to straight wheezing to straight saying he's overexerting himself. So I was trying to get that. I would
say the one thing that I would give you that would be a little piece of advice. The reason I would make it bigger. It's lost inside the art. So if you make it bigger, because it would be in our special effects font, it will kind of clue the reader into it being something. So when you do special effects, sometimes you don't have to do every single effect because the artwork will sell it. But sometimes if you want the person to know that the door slammed, you may put blam. Or if you want to make sure that the person knows that something broke, you may put crash. Even though you show it, It all depends how much you want to emphasize something. So the reason in this case is something you want to emphasize, so you can punch it up a lot bigger.
The other thing is, since this is an after image, this because like you said, this is lost. Like I had to zoom in to see it. I would have made that more visible. Also, understand jaguars have a really good sense of smell. So the after image may have worked, but probably not for long, especially if he's because I think you said he's what 2.5 times bigger than Andon. He probably has a really good sense of smell. So the after image,
yeah, he was hoping that fire smoke was hurting the nostrils also, because that's why he did it the first time.
Okay.
Because because that's why that's that whole scene right there was meant, and also the fact that he well, actually I explained that a little later, but him even showing the smoke, that even being smoke shows even more how in a distress situation he was, because he wasn't showing no power, he wasn't showing no fire, and that's just how much of it he was, going through it at the moment, because he could not concentrate too much, because everything he was trying was either running from that jaguar and then trying to evade. So and again, that's why at the end, so that's really and then in the end, that's why I have him saying, I know they have a cute sense of smell, but that's why in the end I'm like, he's ending and saying, hopefully that did it, because if it didn't, it's gonna be worse. And my cliffhanger this cliffhanger right here, I don't care too. So I'll take the hit as a writer, because I don't often care too much for cliffhangers. I read in manga, I understand cliffhangers, especially in American comics, I understand cliffhangers, but I think that cliffhangers are a bit overdone. I don't always. I'm of the belief that you don't always need to have a quote unquote specific cliffhanger.
No, you don't need to.
This one, it was actually two things, and he was still being led, because if you look at the bottom corner, the very bottom corner of the very last panel, you see that musical note.
Yeah.
Go up to like towards the middle. That was hinted. And that's why in the dialogue he's like, "Oh, I've heard that book," and then read and then the dialogue is saying, "Hey, I've heard the tune before. Where's it coming from? Did it come from my left shoulder, or did it come from my right?" If you go up and you look at when he was being chased by the jaguar, go up, keep going up, go up, keep going up. You're gonna have to go up to like several pages up. You sliding, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Keep going, keep going. You're gonna see the music tones.
Oh, I see it
right there.
Yeah.
Right there. Now and then so he's hearing it on his right. That's his right ear. Go down, scroll down a little bit more. He's looking over his right shoulder, but then he looks up, and then the jaguar catches him off guard again. And so if you go up, and then if you go down, he hears the music over his right shoulder. And that's why he's looking over his right shoulder. I wanted to aim that. So if you go all the way down to the very last panel, the musical notes are on his right side.
If he's right here, and this is him facing me, yeah, that's his right. But if I was in his direction, looking the way he was looking, that would be his left shoulder going from here to here.
Yeah, because the jaguar is over his lip, and that's why it go down, and that's not for the music.
Are you saying he's listening to the music here over his right shoulder? Because that would be his right shoulder.
Yes.
But here, this is his left.
Exactly. So go, and you'll know why go down, because of the jaguar. That's where I was going for it. He looks immediately, because he gets caught again mid thought, because the jaguar is getting close. He has to stop getting distracted. But
excuse me for a sec.
Go ahead. Oh. Was he talking to me?
Oh no. I think he's got something he's going to do.
Oh, understandable. But yeah, the musical tone is over his left. So when you were at the very last panel, I put the last musical note that you can hear, because he can hear the musical note again. He just don't have time to explore it because he's getting chased. but again, it's on the right side.
Yeah, it's on our
And
side.
that is also leading him to his destination.
Yeah. I would have to better it. I would have put it somewhere up here because right there, it honestly, it almost looks like a little crevice. It almost looks just like something right here because I tend to notice and have a fairly good eye, but I did miss that. But you
Yeah.
putting it up here would have signified that he heard it. But right down here, it looks out of place. It has almost no context. Like I don't notice it now until you tell me. But this just one of those things as you go along, like somewhere, over in here or whatever, or a little trail right here. And it really wouldn't have mattered what ear he was listening at because hearing is peripheral. It would have done the same effect. It would have showed that he was going somewhere, that it was leading him somewhere.
I would disagree a little bit on that because you still can tell what direction certain noises is coming from, which is going to be a factor into this. And also the way you put it, I understand you thought about putting it a little closer to the way you did the line, but for me, that would have signified that the music was coming from his left shoulder, which in terms of mapping wise, that simply wouldn't be correct because it's not over his left shoulder. It would
it's coming straight. It's coming straight at him. So from here, if it's just here, all it really is signifying is that he's hearing it and it's ahead of him.
No, it's not ahead of him. That's the thing. It's not ahead of him. It's directly on his right side.
Right side. So
yeah, it's like you would have
probably somewhere right in here then.
Yeah, my biggest thing. So I'd say that move it up. I'll move it up a little bit, but as far as you're moving it, for me, two things that came to mind when you said it, and that's why I didn't put it right there in the first place. Because again, the first one, it would have for me that would have read is coming from his left shoulder, not his right. And then not only that, distance wise, I was putting it right there to the end to know that it's still vague for him because he's still saying it's vague. So he can barely hear it, but I wanted to put it right there to show that it's still in a distance away.
So you can put it. You could still put it here, and then what you would do is that in your next book, you could literally have a panel where he's trying to still discern where it's coming from, or even have him state that it's still coming from left, but we see the musical notes, so we still know it's a factor. You can say with the dialogue that it's still coming from the right, and then show it here. Because I've seen that done, and then later you can still visually show that it's coming from his right side because they'll have characters looking like this or whatever and do that, but the notes would have been more visible. Here, it's a little too hidden. Like I said, it almost just looks like.
That's why I did, and that's why I'll take the L because that was the plan. It wasn't supposed to be. It ain't supposed to be obvious.
Yeah. But
I understand in terms of certain placements where what you're talking about. It just that was like as a writer, I'll hold the L on that because that for me was just like that was like all that was explicitly strategic in the way I wanted it to read. But that's why I was like it didn't read well. So I'll move it next time. I'll think about moving it up. I still think it'll read off how close you suggested it, but I do know that I will put it if I rework it. I'll
they can't see it, but we can hear them scratches. But no, I mean,
sorry.
Yeah, it's all good because I know you excited, and like I said, I can admit like okay, there are some things I think Alan may agree. For anybody watching, a lot of the misconceptions that I have in my review come from the distance of time between reading the first issue and the second, because there's so much time in between their release. So what I would recommend to anybody who is going to read this story, read 1 and 2, and you'll see a lot of the things, because I did not go back and read 1 because I usually have a fairly good memory. But there were some things where it's like, okay, if I went back and read 1, I probably would have seen some of these things. The other thing is, like I said, just the musical notes. Like it's cool to have things hidden, but you can't have them so hidden that you the only one that can really point it out. Unless you're really trying to do like Oh, what is his name? It's not John Cassidy. It's I can't think of the dude's name. He's an asshole, I think. Uh he did a lot of like subliminal messages in some of his Green Lantern books, but that's intended because he
Yeah.
had read a book on subliminal messaging.
He
And so
wanted
he
to
he
have it.
put it's one book he had like 17 subliminal messages in there,
Goodness.
you know. But at the end of the day, some of this is just I know you say take a L, but it's we get it. It's a learning thing, and you know we want to see you grow. It's a I
And
think Alan probably would agree. A lot of this comes down to the art, and bringing that vision, you know, to life a little bit more, so that things are a bit clearer. Uh,
yeah,
and that's just
and
something.
I
That's just
get that
something you
in
just
the.
talk about.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. But like I said, it's getting late. I really wasn't expecting to actually, you know, do a deep dive into the book, but I
Mhm.
do appreciate you pointing out those things that I missed. But you know, like this, like okay, yeah, his head is going this way, then that way, and then the mindset. I just figured Andon was a bit more capable. I wasn't thinking in terms like you were, where he's like he's still a kid, you know. But I figure if he's capable enough to go to a planet by himself and explore it, you know, he has to be of some type of intelligence. So, but
Which
you know,
he
I understand
Which
it a
he
little
definitely
bit more.
is, but you still got. I still my thinking one is he's still a kid. Ain't no modern. He still ain't got the experience. So he's still in terms of he's still learning. He's still growing about it and everything. But his like my thinking going into this was he is not no rugged Afro mentioned survival guaranteed specialist. You know what I'm saying? Again, he achieved top marks on his class. They're confident in his survival capabilities to be on the planet by himself. But he's still going. He's still running. And the way I'm looking at this, he's still running into the normal stuff anyone would run into when you're on any planet or any jungle by themselves. And it's and if you any of the a lot of the survival books, that's why I've been reading about it to get also the info on this. They tell you certain stuff they ain't no amount of preparation you can have for unexpected uh, events. You know what I'm saying? Always looking about you. He's going through, as you can see, he's definitely going through moments of excitement, you know, responsibility because he know he has to return the artifact, but he's still also excited to explore, which is why I made sure to put on the cover. It's an exploration event, and the fact that him being I got a lot more of the I would have to come up with the you know what I'm saying the profile. I'll pull up the profile and everything like that, but his survival, the fact that he's here. Um, I wanted to show, especially how he got out of his interaction with the turtle, because he was explicitly warned not to get in that situation, and the fact that he navigated his way out of that to making without making that a worse situation than it needs to be, and that's what that's what I want to make sure to have it throughout the series. He is, you know, what I'm saying he not about to be Rambo, not about to be a, you know, what I'm saying special forces or anything like that. But he is gonna show without a doubt his, you know, his survival competency. You know, he's looking for sources. He got 2 sources of water he already achieved. With the keep home tree, he's also going to be looking for food sources. He also noted that, hey, if I don't find the ruins by say sundown, look for shelter. He's taking all of these. I want to show that he's taking all of this into account to show that he, you know, even as a kid, he's definitely qualified, you know, to be here.
Yeah. But it sounds good, man. I look forward to reading book 3. Shoot it your way. But definitely try to give you some support in the future too. For all the people who are watching, if you could donate. Producing these books aren't cheap. It's a big, it's a big undertaking to try to fund and stuff, do your books yourself, that kind of thing. So you should be commended for that. So when would you say book 3 is coming out?
Within the next month. I already got the we did the roughs. My artist already sent me the I did the edits, but I wanted to how I wanted it to look, the changes, and then he just told me a few days ago he's working on the final line work, so we get that in the next in a little bit. So like I said, within the next month I should have I'm looking to have chapter 3 out, or probably no later than like April.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Like I said, it's getting a bit late. So real quick, I'll have some closing remarks, but real quick, Alan, go ahead and plug your books. You've done it before. Do it again for the people so they can find your stuff.
Yeah. So right now I have 2 books on sale. The Wayzacre Comics US in their storefront. Neon Ghost, science fiction, sci-fi, cyberpunk, and Reality Stray Dogs Volume 1. These are big books, 120 pages, and one is 70 pages. Full story, so you're gonna get a lot of bang for your buck. If you like action, science fiction, Afrofuturism, some of it is a bit of Ghost in the Shell style action. It's a sum of everything. So go and check it out. And I'll probably do a Kickstarter in the middle of the year. More to come on that later.
Okay. Also, there's a lot of whatever amounts to cyberpunk cocaine in his books. So there's always somebody fucking getting high in them bitches. It's like, yeah, somebody gets their head blown off because of that bullshit.
Yeah.
Interesting. Jamal.
Drugs. I said, hey, where my drugs at, huh?
So, man, look, you got to read. What was it? Is it Neon Ghost? You'll understand. Check that out. And then Jamal, my friend, thank you for coming on the show. I will openly admit, hey, I think, like I said, the biggest problem is probably to get some of the stuff. Read issue 1, then read issue 2. It'll flow a little bit better.
Like anything. Yeah.
Once again, some of the art and direction there would make your intent clear because you clearly know where you're going. It just at times didn't translate in the art. Yeah. Hey, look, people, y'all think we be assholes, and I'm, with these reviews and whatnot. But with people, there are things I am willing to admit. There were some things that I missed, and I admitted it in this video because my reviews are public. So, sometimes we get it wrong, but we don't mind that. That's a part of the process. As long as we all willing to grow and get better from it, that's all gravy. That being said, Jamal, once again, please let the people know where they can get your books.
Yes, you can. Again, if you want to support the artists, you want to support the growing fund, go ahead and go to our site, lapiscomics.com. Got the first chapter or 2. If you want to read it, get a look at the story and everything like that, just go ahead and DM me and on all the socials. Again, I'm on Lapis Comics on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Patreon, Substack.
Is that information in the books? Like all the socials and stuff?
No. I'll have to create a page to add that in there for chapter 3.
Okay. So I was wondering because if it was in the books, I would put it up on the screen real quick.
Yeah, no, it's not. It wasn't in the book. I wasn't sure what all to put in there, so I left it out for the time and promote it here. But I think I'll create a page specifically to have it all in there, so that way
on the back of usually on the back of the cover page, that's a good place for it. Or that the back page, the back cover. Because you know how books end usually on a full page spread, that last page.
Yeah.
When you got that cover, you can put it right there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's usually a good place because it's space. So that's a good place. Most mainstream comics use that space and put actual ads, but since you're an independent publisher, Put your socials.
Yeah, I am the ad.
You literally fuck out. Why you think I had Alan say his shit and promote his Barbados cocaine?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you gotta
Anyway,
get
though,
out there.
this was a great episode, man. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. We're gonna end it right here. Y'all take it easy. Be blessed.
Have everybody.
Yep.